reckless, impulsive, irrational. We teenagers have been labeled so many things. How many of you agree with those labels? Let's see some hands. Okay, I see a lot of hands in the audience. That's okay, because I agree with them, and I'm a teenager. But what if reckless just means we're unafraid to try? Maybe impulsive means we're quick to act when something needs fixing. And could irrational mean we refuse to accept that's just the way that things are? What if these labels aren't flaws, but are strengths? Because the truth is, the world is never changed by people who played it safe. No, it's changed by people who took risks, who acted fast, who refused to accept the impossible. So maybe the way teenagers act isn't the problem. Maybe the problem is that no one's listening. A survey by York University found that 56% of teenagers and young people feel powerless when it comes to the climate crisis. And only 27% feel that their concerns are taken seriously enough. So more than half of us look at the state of the world and feel stuck. And when we do speak up, only a quarter of us feel heard? That's a system designed to dismiss us before we even start. We've got a world full of problems, with accelerating climate change and rising inequality only the tip of the iceberg. But the solution to all of these problems is so clear. It begins with us, teenagers, questioning everything we've been told is impossible. And not only that, it also begins with the world being ready to listen. Youth empowerment begins with one question, one conversation at a time. But here's what no one talks about. We teenagers, we are built as catalysts for change. This is proven by science and biology in the way that our brains, because of our limbic systems, are supercharged with drive. And the limbic system is the part of the brain controlling our emotions and our behavior. And during the teenage years, the limbic system works in overtime. So when it comes to decision making and rational thinking, you could say that the gas comes before the brakes, since we tend to think emotionally and not rationally. So because of the wiring of our brains, we've got all this drive, and yet we're stuck in one spot. Passion without opportunity is just frustration. A Pew Research report found that 76% of US Gen Zers considered climate change to be one of their biggest concerns. So let me ask you something. What happens when youth are actually given the space to act on their passions? Real change. And I saw it firsthand with my friends. We're a group of about 15 teens and preteens who meet up once a month to work on leadership skills and find ways to volunteer in our communities. We're always looking for new opportunities to help out. And this year, we found something unlike anything we've ever seen before. Can you imagine, as a parent or a teenager like me, having to surrender your child to a shelter because you can't care for them anymore? Can you imagine having to place your newborn baby into a heated box about this big, not knowing when you'd see them again? How does that make you feel? Unfortunately, this isn't just a dark scenario to think about, but rather a real situation some parents have to face. That little heated box is called Hope's Cradle, and it's a place in Western Canada for parents to surrender their babies if they can't take care of them anymore. After placing the child in the box, an alarm sounds and an employee from the shelter comes to retrieve the baby. Just like all of us are doing now, my friends and I all sat with that for a moment. A box. A box meant for a baby. It was a punch to the stomach for all of us. We learned that this shelter goes through some hundreds of diapers in a day. And after hearing about all of this, we were all thinking the same thing. Was there something, anything, that we could do to help? So we started talking. We ended up planning for maybe 2 hours that day, and at first, it felt impossible. I mean, what could we do? But having that open space where we could comfortably bounce ideas back and forth was what changed everything for us. Someone mentioned donating old clothes. Another suggested asking our friends to help. Then came the idea to get our schools involved. One idea fueled another, and before we knew it, we had a plan. We ended up collecting over 2.5 large vehicles full of laundered clothing, household items, food, toys, and most importantly, over 1,000 diapers. All this change started with us asking if there was something we could do. It all starts with one question. Questions don't just spark curiosity, they ignite change. They trigger conversations which can lead to movements. And when those movements are powered by youth, it has unstoppable energy. Because it's not just talk, it's action. We take it to our friends, our communities, our world. We empower each other. That's the power of youth. That's the power of a single conversation. That's the power of having a community that'll listen. And right now, we're disconnected from our communities. And yes, that is because of social media and technology. And if you're a teenager, you know exactly what I mean, even if you don't want to admit it. But let's face the truth. Online, it's like we're living in a separate world. A world where climate change is really just another hashtag. Where a post about rising sea levels can sit right next to a dance challenge. Social media makes it so easy to engage without actually engaging. But when we talk face to face, we can't just scroll past an uncomfortable conversation or close it when it gets too real. When we look someone in the eyes and talk, it stops feeling like just another post and it becomes real. That makes us more likely to do something about it. Because change doesn't happen in the comment section. It happens when we step out of the screen and into the real world. Posting isn't the same as talking. A caption can't replace a conversation. And a share will never replace real action. Real change doesn't start with a perfectly worded post. It starts with a question. If 15 teenagers can start a movement with just one question, imagine what we could do with your experience and support. So today, don't just ask a teenager what's frustrating them, because trust me, there's a lot. Think about how you can provide us the opportunities to turn our ideas into movements. Because in just 2 years, I will literally be considered a legal adult. But right now, I lack real-world experience. My knowledge is limited to what I've learned in social studies class. So if you're a teacher, ask us how we'd solve a real-world problem. If you're a business owner, ask a young person to shadow you or consider mentoring them. Our drive is there. We just need the chance to turn it into action. Because by 2050, the year that so many climate goals are set for, I will be 40 years old. But will that year be full of progress or crisis? That depends on whether we're given a voice today. We need to remember that the world doesn't change by chance. It changes by choice. My choice. Your choices. So today, choose to be the community that engages and supports. We're teenagers. We're reckless, we're impulsive, and we're irrational. But will you be the one to guide those reckless ideas and help turn them into something that could change the world? Youth empowerment begins with one single question. The only question now is who's bold enough to ask it?